Here, wide receiver Twon Hines, Northwestern State, getting ready to play Stephen F. Austin. It's rival this weekend. Twon, we'll go back real quick to Southeast Missouri, and I know it was a tough day for this offense, but it feels like this team is really close. I know Coach McCorkle mentioned it post game. Do you guys feel that way as well?
Yeah, we're pretty optimistic about going into this week and getting a chance to travel to Nacogdoches and play our first conference opener against SFA. I mean, we've had some struggles on offense, but we're not distraught. We're just buying into the process. And as Coach says, nobody ever said it was going to be easy. Like, perfect fairy tale story. You want to come out here after everything we experienced last year and go 5-0 and everything just be perfect. But the reality of it is that in the type of situation that we're in, we're bound to face some adversity. And I think what we've done the best is stay together through that adversity and continue to remain optimistic and acknowledge our problems and just keep working on them. So I think we're due. We're due for sure.
For you're wearing number 1 this year, and I know I talked with Coach McCorkle about this. He wasn't really aware of the tradition of the 1 for the receivers here, but it seemed like you were, and I know you really wanted that. You've mentioned in a word, if you look on your bio on the website, arete.
Yeah.
And kind of explain that for people, and how does that fit with that number 1?
So it just means like reaching excellence. Like it's a philosophy thing. It's like an ancient philosophy term that just means like excellence. Like the ancient philosophers would talk a lot about how people's main goal in life is usually to reach some type of excellence or like overall happiness in life. And like when you're going through these things in life, that's what everybody is ultimately trying to reach, is like happiness and excellence overall in their life. So that kind of ties in to the number 1 here and stuff like that, because that has been a staple of excellence. It seems like like people that have come before me and kind of paved the way, and come before us that have paved the way, and it's what really makes NSU mean something, and that means a lot to me. That like when we tap the link every day, like I think about that. Like there were people who were in these exact same positions that we were in before and went through these exact same things, and like that makes it mean a little more. It you feel it a little more every time you look around on the walls and see certain stuff. So I just want to be the best that I can be. So yeah, that's kind of how that ties into that.
How does that philosophy, chasing excellence, how does that affect your position in terms of a leadership position or your growth as a leader?
So in terms of growth as a leader, it kind of requires me to hold myself to a very high standard and, hold those around me to a high standard too. But first, if I'm going to be the person that can hold people to a standard, I have to make sure that I'm always on my P's and Q's. So through that, like I said, I always have to remember to be, really hardest on myself before I feel like I can say anything to anybody else. Because if I want to be the example or one of the examples of what it means to be a NSU Demon, then, you have to live that example every day in and out, whether it be on the field, off the field, in the community. Because like Coach always says, whenever we go out, you're representing. You never know who's watching, eyes are always around, and that has to mean something to you. So
For you talked about going through adversity, and on the field was a tough start for you last year. Maybe not the season you thought you'd have. How did that drive you toward this year?
So like last year, obviously like not the ideal situation for anybody that was part of the team, but it's just one of those things where you go through adversity, those type of things, and you just kind of take what you can out of it positive. Like it's easy to look at the negative side of it. Oh, this happened wrong, this went wrong, this went wrong. But like being able to take those positives out of that negative situation and use those positives as driving forces to propel you into the next season or what's to come next. I think that's really where that hits home for me. Like just being able to have the opportunity to even play football again as a Northwestern State Demon. Like that didn't automatic. That didn't have to be so. A lot of people didn't know if we were going to have a football team. So like that's a blessing. So you got to take advantage of that every day.
We'll get a chance to go face a rival in Stephen F. Austin. You've been a part of this series before. One of kind of the rare ones on this team who's been a part of that. It changes a little bit. You're going to go on the road, and it's now a conference game. It's your conference opener. What's it going to be like playing a rivalry game as the start to conference?
I think it's exactly what we need, man. I think we're going to be juiced up. We're going to be ready. I mean, not to dive too much into what happened last year, but, like for those of us that were here and even those that weren't here, because at this point we're all a team. So we all lost the SFA last year, even the ones that weren't here hypothetically, it's like that leaves a sour taste in my mouth. So this week we're gonna practice as if like this is we got something to prove, because we do have something to prove. But like I said, now it's like everything it's conference. It's right now this is our chance to we have the chance to really determine what we're gonna make this into. And like I said, we're very optimistic. We're ready to go, and we're just gonna keep gelling as a team and loving each other, and go full force, go full speed ahead at it.
Twon, thanks for your time.
Yep.